All right, here we are at attempt number 2. The camera just stopped recording for some reason, and I don't know why, so hopefully this time I'll get it all in. This is my first Halloween junk journal for this year. I have, it's approximately 8.5 by 11. It's a little bit smaller than that, maybe a ½ inch shorter and a ½ inch less wide than that. Because I did have to trim a standard 8.5 by 11 by about a ½ inch, maybe to an inch. When I list this up on Etsy, it will have the full specs for everything, you know, the cover, the pages, all that. I put a couple of charms down here. I've got a spider and some fangs. They're hanging from the center where it's bound, and it is a 5-stitch pamphlet stitch for the binding. I've done a little one of these metal things with some brads for the title. I did make a little mistake here. I was not paying attention. I was so concerned with getting the brads as flat as possible. I didn't notice that I actually did put this in upside down. I don't think it detracts from it in any way. It's just I know it's upside down. And then I've tied it with some crinkle seam binding in burgundy and black. The cover itself is a faux finish with crinkly tissue paper, and then some black and gray paint with a gold rub on top. And the back is plain. This does leave room for whoever purchases it to add some additional embellishment if they like, but I was so in love with the way the cover looked that I just left it plain like this, and I thought it was, you know, it appeals to me. I did put some little metal corners on both the front and the back there. Now I'm going to pause this for a second because I am only using one hand and it's hard to undo the bow and not look retarded pulling on it with the book skipping across the thing. So give me a moment while I pause this, and I'll be right back with an open book. Alright, so here I am back again. I've taken off the seam binding there. It is a good length. It wraps around twice. You can do it horizontally or vertically. I just liked it vertically for the presentation with how the title looks on there. And this is lightly tacked in. So if you don't like this title but you love the cover, it can be pulled out. I would recommend maybe a pair of tweezers. Just give it a little yank. It's in there good enough it won't just fall out. But I didn't want to glue it down super hard in case whoever got it wanted a different title for it. Alright, so that's the cover. Now this is a pamphlet style book that I removed the contents of. It was stapled in. I pulled that out. I reinforced the spine with a little Tyvek tape because what it's made out of is from the 40s to the 60s. The little booklets varied in date, so the earliest ones were from the 40s and the latest ones were from the late 60s. And they're in good shape, but I just wanted to reinforce that spine a little bit because it had these big ol' honking staples in there. So for the covers, on the inside I did some of my haunted, spooky, creepy black and gray dyed papers. A little scrapbook paper here. It's somewhere between a pink and a red. It's not quite pink, but it's not quite red either. And the first page is a tea-dyed page with some stamping on it. I got some anatomical stamps and then just a little leaf design. For the back end, same thing, some anatomical stamps. And then the haunted, spooky, creepy Halloween paper. I didn't add in a pocket or an envelope here because of the stamping on this side. I thought it might just be too much, but a pocket could easily be added here. A book page one would look nice with some nice edging on it. So that could definitely, this is decorated, I think, just enough that it leaves room for whoever gets it to be able to personalize it to their taste if they wish, but it's also usable as is. I am stumbling over my words today. I have not had any coffee, so please forgive me for that. So this is the back side of the tea-dyed paper. Some more of the haunted, spooky, creepy Halloween paper. This is for sale in my Etsy shop in lots of 25. I had a lot of fun making it. It's dip dyed with red dye. It doesn't move much. I did get it wet with glue. I tried it with some paints. I just got the paper wet with water. It does not travel much. So you're pretty safe adding glued elements on. This would look good with a silver pen, you know, one of those metallic pens. Also with a white Posca pens. And some of the gel pens show up okay on the black paper. But it'd also be fun for mounting photographs or creepy collage images you might have. And then we do have the little charms down there. If you don't like those dangling out of the bottom, they can be cut off, snipped off. You can attach them somewhere else, like you could probably poke an extra hole in the spine and do it up here, or attach a little string through there and put it on the side there, or you could use them in a different project altogether. If that's not your thing, if you don't like those dangling out there, or you're worried they're going to break off, you know, come undone from the little knots. So then I have a pocket page going on with a toe tag that I added in. And I'll put that back right later. And then over here we got a, you know, this is made from the original pages out of the book. And they're a little beat up, you can tell. And I did distress them with some Vintage Photo Delusions ink. So I did a little tag there this is from some scrapbooking paper that I just thought was fun. This one is from a scrapbooking pad. You could add an image or some words or just to have. You could definitely journal on the back of that. Here is just a trifold graph paper that I have edged in the soot. Added some stamping for just a journaling element because I mostly use my journals for listing and journaling. I love lists, so anything I can make a list on is always a bonus. And then that's the back of that. So that's a tea-dyed graph paper there. Let's see if I can, doing it through the camera is like a little, so there's that. And then over here, so this is the larger graph paper that I carry in my shop. One side of this is 4 squares per inch and one side is 5 squares per inch. This is the 10 squares per inch, which is my absolute favorite size of squares on the graph paper. I just really like the way it looks. And that is tea-dyed as well on a spooky creepy paper. Here is the larger sized graph paper. So let's see. I think this is yeah, that's the 4 squares on this side. And then I've attached some, I did a little fold out with some scrapbooking paper that I liked for this journal. And this side is the 5 squares per inch. Some tea-dyed paper with some stamping on it. And I have edged everything with the black soot. And then I sprayed lightly around the edges with a spray sealer. So it should not travel if you get the edges, you know, a little damp with your fingers. If you take a drink of something and your fingers are a little wet. But I did not spray over these elements because I didn't want to affect the paper. I wanted you to still be able to write on it. So this might travel some or smudge if it got wet, but it did dry. I set it to dry on top of the stove while it was warm, and that usually does the trick, but I won't guarantee it won't smudge. A little spiderweb detail here on the back side of that. And then I had a couple of illustrated Draculas, and I chose this image. It's edged in black. The paper is very white. And I did think about aging it, but I just wanted to leave it plain like that to see if whoever gets it wants to do something with it. And that's the text on the back. And I hint that there's another one on the other side with some tea-dyed paper there. This is a little corner tip-in, I guess. Inside with the 10 squares per inch graph paper. Outside with the same scrapbooking paper that's on the inside of the spine. I made these little tags with some decoupage napkin. I just thought that, you know, I made one for a mini collage that I put on my Instagram, and I loved it so much that I made 60 more. So I figured this was a good place to use them. Like all junk journalers, and I think people who are interested in mixed media, when you do something and you really had fun with it, you just kind of get a little bit bizarro about the whole thing and go overboard. So this one is another journaling spot with the creepy hand pointing. This is just the plain tea-dyed paper. And ooh, we can do this. Another little stamp in there. And these could certainly be embellished more. You could add in some washi tape. You know, I didn't want to go overboard. I wanted to decorate it just enough that it's fun, but leave plenty of room for personalization, because I love it when I can personalize something. And this little pocket thing, the little corner pocket, is on the back of the Haunted Spooky Creepy paper. This is the 10 squares per inch graph paper with some washi tape and some little spiders dangling down there. And then on the side I did a little corner design and some more washi. This is some cardstock weight scrapbook paper in just a nice kind of vintagey look paper. Tea-dyed paper. And let's see. I'm having trouble getting the edges with just the one hand. Alright, and there's the back side of that. And I used some good dark papers for this too. You can see the occlusions here. I got some good effects on the paper when I was dyeing it. I really like that. This one's got a little split edge, but I think it adds some character to it. This is the larger sized of the graph paper, the 4/5 inch squares per inch paper. A little washi tape. This is a page from, let's see, what book is that? Shadow of the Vampire. I hinged it with a little washi tape. Here's a lighter, this one's almost white with some smudgy tea-dyed paper. Here's a larger piece of that same scrapbook paper that you saw before. And this is a paperweight paper. It's not a cardstock weight. Edged in black on both sides, and I left it plain. You could mount pictures in there. Definitely a good journaling spot. You could collage on it. Then we've got a little pocket here again on another black page. And this is some text. It's tea-dyed paper and text from the other book that I used in this one was a junior illustrated classics Frankenstein. So this came from the Frankenstein book. And then this is my beat dyed graph paper. This is the 10 squares per inch paper. And then I did a little design in there. And a couple little spiders there. Just some fun things. Definitely could washi it up. Add in some more stamping. And that's just a journal or a list spot. There's the back side of that. And this is, I got some really good cross-contamination because I was beat dyeing and tea dyeing at the same time. And I was hoping for the cross-contamination because I like it. So this, you can see some coffee that got overlaid onto the beet because I laid it down on the, I put a towel down on top of the stove and then I put the oven on warm. And I find that that produces a good texture for the paper without it getting too brittle. So I really like how this turned out. And then I got some little spots on this tea-dyed paper. And this is a little wrinkly, but it's smooth enough to write on it. It's not going to inhibit writing or mounting anything on it because I have used it myself. The middle is a Ouija board stencil that I got, and I am absolutely in love with. I did spray this whole page over with sealer because my StazOn ink is not working right, and all I had was my delusions. I tested one, and it does not run. I did get this weird white effect here, but I kind of like it. And so you can see where I've tied the knot off and added the little charm. So if you didn't like those, you could tie this into a bow. You could clip it really short. So if you don't like that, it's easily enough removed and corrected. The back of that, and then there's the back of that. So we're hitting all the back of the pages now. Here we go with another, this is the Frankenstein Junior Classics. Got a little tag with some washi on it. This is some scrapbooking paper, tea-dyed in the middle, then a little washi embellishment. So I made it so it folds out. Journaling space, you could put a little picture in there. You could even do a collage in the middle, that would look great. Some little Halloween paper. This is the back side of that really light, this is the scrapbook paper. And the back side of that really light tea-dyed paper. Back side of the book page. So we're just, here's the larger size graph paper with a stamp and some washi. The Haunted Spooky Creepy paper, tea-dyed paper. This is a nice dark one with some splotches. The back side of that cardstock scrapbook paper. The back side of that 10 squares per inch. Black paper with a little, this is the same as the other one. Let's, come on, I can do this. It does flip up, I swear. And that's got the little, I'll fix that up. 10 squares per inch on the inside. Did a little stamping on that with the bat stamps. Some little bones. And some little bats up there in the corner. I really had a good time with these. And there's enough room that you could add in more stuff if you have your own elements you would like to add. This is decoupage napkin on tea-dyed paper as a flip out. The backside has some steno paper that I got really grungy with some tea dye and a little washi tape there. That's the text for the illustrated Dracula, and this is the second design. Now I've left this plain. This could be stamped, or you could journal on it. You could, maybe make up your own little story. We all know that's Jonathan Harker shaving at Dracula's castle, but you could make it into whatever you want. Some washi and that stamp again. I really like this one. Some pumpkins and a little eek up at the top. And just some plain graph paper. And I have another little flip out. So this one says beware. Got a little stamping. This decoupage napkin on tea-dyed paper as a flip up. Haunted Spooky Creepy paper. Whoop. And we can do this. Yes, we can. 10 squares per inch paper. Grid paper, that is. Here we go. Another blood splatter tag. And then this is a book page tag. So on the one side is tea-dyed paper, and I put some washi and a stamp on that. And the back side is text from one of the Dracula books I have. Or, no, you know what? I think this is from the Poe book. I also have a junior illustrated Edgar Allan Poe collection, which had some of his stories in them. So this is an Edgar Allan Poe one. So the back side is the book. The front side is the tea-dyed paper. And this is the other side of that pocket page. There's the back of it with a little evidence tag. And then the last couple pages here, the Haunted Spooky Creepy paper. And the last page of the tea-dyed paper. And that's the back of the book there. So that is the whole thing with its little binding there. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. There's a link in the down box, the description box. And I'll fix that tag at the top. It's just sticking a little bit in the pocket. I will get that fixed up for you. So I hope that you'll check out the listing on Etsy. This will be for sale. If the video is posted and viewable, it's for sale in Etsy. And it's the first of a series that I'm doing. I'm not sure how many I'll get done because some of the items I ordered for this project took way longer. I'm still actually waiting for 2 things. So this one may get a little add-in for a couple more ephemera items, because I'm waiting for a printed ephemera packet from a seller on Etsy. And I've been waiting, I think it's 10 days now from the time that they listed it as pre-transit. It's a little disappointing there, but there could be a couple more elements, or if I just put together a couple myself. I just tried to make it a little easier for me and create some greater variety by, I don't think there's anything wrong with digital paper packs or with buying an ephemera from other creators who have in their listing that it's okay for you to add those things to your sellable items. I think it just adds to the fun, and it's like collaborating with somebody in a kind of sly way, I guess. So this is Wicked, and that is the end of the video. Thank you if you have watched the whole thing, and I hope that you enjoyed this little jaunt through my Wicked journal. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week and a very awesome autumn season. Bye-bye now.